Fox News alert, a major bombshell in the Trump documents case. The FBI authorized the use of deadly force during the Mar-a-Lago raid. This according to documents filed by Trump's legal team. Agents in unmarked polo shirts planned to bring standard issue weapons, ammo, handcuffs, medium and large size bolt cutters, and even lock-picking equipment as they prepared to go door to door at Mar-a-Lago. And they did, ransacking Melania Trump's bedroom along with Barron Trump's bedroom. The FBI also took extensive photographs of Melania and Barron's rooms for no apparent reason. Think about this for a second. Joe Biden sent men with guns to his political opponent's house and turned their bedrooms upside down. That's never happened in the history of the United States. And we've had some crazy presidents. This was the former First Lady and a professional model. These people are sick. And Biden complains about his son's privacy, hunters. He had armed men rummage through Barron's bedroom. The FBI even allegedly had a medic on site in case someone was shot. Trump reacting, quote, "Wow, I just came out of the Biden witch hunt trial in Manhattan, the icebox, and was shown reports that crooked Joe Biden's DOJ and their illegal and unconstitutional raid of Mar-a-Lago authorized the FBI to use deadly, lethal force. Now we know for sure that Joe Biden's a serious threat to democracy. He is mentally unfit to hold office. 25th Amendment." Trump's lawyers claim that the former president's constitutional rights were violated. It was an illegal search and seizure. The FBI misled the judge to obtain the warrant, and the raid was executed in an egregious fashion and in bad faith. Nor was there any basis for the FBI to bring firearms into Mar-a-Lago. What was life-threatening about pieces of paper? The FBI improperly seized Trump's passports, tax and accounting information, and even medical records. Think about that. The Biden administration seized his political opponent's medical records. Who signed off on it?
I personally approved the decision to seek a search warrant in this matter. Second, the department does not take such a decision lightly.
Remember, the New York Times reported that Biden wanted his AG to, quote, act less like a ponderous judge and more like a prosecutor willing to take on Trump. This all came from the top, just like the Jan 6 case, the Fani case, Alvin Bragg's workshop in Manhattan, where today both sides rested.
Resting the case. I won't be resting. I don't rest. I'd like to rest sometimes, but I don't get to rest.
Trump won't take the stand, but the jury's dismissed until next Tuesday, where they're not supposed to see the news or talk about the case. So the judge stops the case dead in its tracks and tells the jury to go home for a week and not look at their phones. Now, I don't know about your phone, but my phone has alerts. Ping, Biden falls again. Ping, Trump up 8 in Georgia. Ping, Trump's a dictator. How many hoaxes are they going to blanket the country with this week to pierce the make-believe bubble the jury's supposed to be in? And how do you not talk to your wife or husband for a week about the case? How do you go to a Memorial Day barbecue in New York without at least one chatty Cathy with Trump derangement syndrome? Alvin Bragg's star witness is a lying lawyer and a suicidal thief who tried selling anti-Trump T-shirts to the jury and wants to run for Congress. The other star witness is a smutty ghostbuster who has sex with men for money on camera. Behind the scenes, Bragg's office has never felt more embarrassed.
All of my colleagues and all the people that I worked with in the DA's office have all said to me, Eric, go out and talk about this. You have the experience to address it. And they actually have all unanimously, whether they like President Trump or never Trumpers, have said they're embarrassed by the DA's office bringing this type of case, and it has destroyed the integrity of my old office.
You know, it's blowing up when Rachel Maddow's back on TV begging for help.
The history of the rule of law in this country tells us that the rule of law does not magically defend itself. And it is mortal. It can be killed. When it is attacked, it breaks. In the, noble alternate version of this history that we'd like to imagine we would be part of, the whole country would be up in arms about Georgia and about New York and about all of these cases, telling these people to back off the judges, back off the witnesses and the jurors, back off the prosecutors, back off Fani Willis, protect these cases, protect the rule of law.
Maddow is saying that Fani, Alvin, Jack, and Judge Merchan aren't just lawyers and judges. They are the rule of law. It's like when Fauci said, when you attack me, you attack science. Now, if you attack a prosecutor for spending taxpayer money on sexual kickbacks, you're attacking the rule of law. Fani has to be protected at all costs because the Biden campaign can't win without her. Maddow was in rehab mode last night.
We are not going to allow people to be attacked while they do their job. Having prosecutors that are free from interference and are allowed to just look at cases, look at the facts, and if people broke the law to bring charges, has to go on for us to live in a free society. The sad part, though, for all of them, Ms. Maddow, is it doesn't matter how many times they attack me. I am not going to be broken.
Fani can lie, cheat, and steal, but she's the rule of law. And the rule of law can't be attacked. And if the prosecutor is a black woman, then attacking the rule of law is also racist.
14 minorities were elected to office to serve as district attorney. And now all of a sudden they need an oversight committee to look after district attorneys because they want to tell us how to prosecute and who to prosecute and where we should put our resources. Apparently, we now need daddy to tell us how to do our job.
14 DAs don't need oversight, just one. We're talking about Willis. Fani doesn't need a daddy, she has one.
Did she say anything to you about having a large savings of cash?
Oh, no, See, maybe, excuse me, and Your Honor, I'm not trying to be racist, okay? But it's a black thing, okay?
Well, Michael Cohen must be black because he paid contractors 20 grand in cash in brown paper bags. Menendez, too. So in cash and windbreakers must be a black thing. All the people charging Trump with crimes are committing them. But you're not allowed to say that because we have to protect the rule of lawfare. I mean, the rule of law. Fani and Bragg are all the Democrats have since Jack Smith's cases are getting calendared. It is so bad, they're bringing back James Comey.
He is a threat to the rule of law in America. To me, that's what this election is about. Not about policy differences. It's about what kind of country are we going to be. If he has the ability, smarter than he was last time, to use the power of the Department of Justice and the FBI to target his enemies especially, the rule of law in America will change in a way we haven't seen in our lifetime.
They're saying Trump's going to unleash assassination squads on his enemies, but Biden unleashed armed agents into Trump's house, authorizing them to use deadly force. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.